It's the 3rd of January 2026 and I feel inspired by this morning's thoughts to make another video. I thought about whether I should narrate it myself or whether I should use AI to generate a script for me, but in the end I preferred to do it myself the way I wrote it down. This is going to be a deep dive into the big red pill style video, questioning the kind of stuff that makes you realise that the world isn't always what it seems. Your brain doesn't see the world exactly as it really is. Instead, it takes the information it gets from your eyes and other senses and turns it into a version of reality that makes sense to you. What makes sense to you doesn't always make sense to others. Sometimes your brain only notices part of what's really out there because it focuses on what matters and what it expects to see. Your other senses like hearing, touch, smell, and even taste help fill the gaps. For example, if you see someone smiling, you might also hear their voice and feel their touch if they're close. All these senses work together to give you a full picture of what's happening, even though your eyes alone don't show everything. Another thing is when you have memories, they're often far more detailed than what you experienced in the moment. I say this because I was thinking about hypnotherapy and how sometimes they use it to access a number plate on a car that you vaguely remember or thought you didn't take much notice of. So what you think you're seeing in the world is actually your brain putting together bits of info from all your senses to create your version of reality. Awareness of how our brain perceives things is called consciousness. When we start to become more aware of our thoughts and feelings, and even how we perceive the world, that's sometimes called an awakening or self-awareness. It's like waking up to the fact that there's more happening inside our minds than what we usually notice. So not being aware of those processes is normal because our brain is doing a hell of a lot of work in the background. Becoming aware of it, that's part of growing in understanding ourselves and in our experience of the world. So it's our brain that decides how we see and understand the world around us. It takes all the information from our senses and turns it into a version of reality that makes sense to us. But this version isn't the actual world. It's like an illusion or a picture created by our brain. Because everyone's brain is different and processes things in unique ways, people end up with different ideas about what's real or true. Some believe in religion, some meditate and connect with something spiritual. Some people want to understand more deeply, while others are happy with what they know and they just don't question it any further. This may sound unrelated, but bear with me. It's religious in nature, but please don't switch off because even I'm not a religious person. The story of Adam and Eve eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil might not just be a story. Gee, that was a mouthful to say. The fruit that Eve picked hasn't been verified. And it's funny how there's detail about how the earth was created and how Adam and Eve came to be, but the type of fruit that they ate, that detail was left out. More about that in a minute. Some of you might not make a connection in what I'm saying, but I'm putting it out there anyway because it's food for thought and it's just how my train of thought is travelling. So scientists often talk about things that they can't see directly, like dark matter and tiny particles. They trust in these things because the math and the evidence support them. It's the same as we can't see love or consciousness with our own eyes. We know there's something real there because of how it affects us and the world. You've probably heard it before. It's the same as we can't see the wind. We can see how it moves things, but we just can't see the wind. Back to the story of the fruit, the knowledge of good and evil. But Eve saw the fruit, and the only thought she had was that it was simply fruit. It was food. It was the serpent that questioned the quality or the properties to consider more about that fruit that she perceived was just food and looked good enough to eat. So I'm going to repeat myself because I'm just using the Bible to clarify. Eve saw that the fruit was good for food and pleasing to the eye. But then it says it was desirable for gaining wisdom. Why does it say that? So the key parts are that Eve noticed the fruit because it looked good and desirable, but then the serpent plays a role in making her aware that that fruit that seems appealing and beneficial will give her the abilities to be like God, to know more or to know all that is. Just like scientists trust what they can't see because of the evidence, the story suggests that gaining knowledge or awareness, like eating the fruit, involves understanding things that are beyond our immediate sight, things that are real but hidden or mysterious. So both the scientists and the story reminds me that there's more to reality than what I can see. Sometimes understanding or believing in something means trusting the evidence, experience, or the idea that some truths are beyond our direct perception. What if that fruit was actually a change in our DNA? What if it was a lost line of code in our bodies that changed how we saw reality? It's just a thought. This all shows that our perception of reality is shaped by our brain and that we believe or feel it is influenced by how our mind interprets the world. Whether you believe in something beyond what the senses are telling you, everything that you experience is your own version of reality, built by your brain. What we think is the world is actually a personal brain-made illusion. And that's okay, because it's all a part of how we navigate and find meaning in life. But why aren't we finding more answers about what is really out there? Our current tools and understanding can't fully explain them yet. We always seem to judge and accuse, ridiculing those who do try to speak up. So just be aware of that also. People see and believe different things, making it hard to find one single answer that everyone agrees on. Our brains are not limited. There is so many things that we don't know and understand about how or why our brains work. And they interpret the world based on what we can sense and understand and what is relevant at that point in time. I say our brains are not limited because I'm thinking about the neural pathways and the energy that is in the brain and how it works. And it's not unlike how we think of the universe. And they say the universe is expanding, so our brains may not be expanding as in a physical sense, but maybe our understanding of things and the way that they're fired up and things like that. But some truths might stay hidden and only be understood in the future. But this is what keeps scientists and thinkers and explorers curious and searching, because we're all on a quest for answers. It's part of what makes life interesting. Your brain is good at making predictions and it fills in the blanks. If something moves too fast, your brain draws the rest of that movement so that you don't get confused. We're always living in a suggested reality. But is that a good thing? Here's another thing, the pineal gland, and how much emphasis is in that at the Vatican, and tying back to that same story, Adam and Eve. Look at the old art from the Vatican, or even ancient Egypt, from memory, has it? They're always showing pine cones. Or is that pine cone a fruit? Is it like a cousin to the dragon fruit? Many people think it represents the pineal gland, so that's in your brain. It's all to do with the third eye that we're supposed to use to grow or to wake up to see past the illusion. And here's another question. What can we do to level up? gain knowledge and be consciously awake. For some strange reason, I feel like the serpent right now. That's weird. If the world is indeed an illusion created by our brain, how can we educate it to see beyond and know what's real? One way is to use tools to see what our eyes can't. Telescopes, microscopes, they're like a power-up for your senses. They're clever inventions that came from dreams and thought. Question everything. Don't just believe what you're told. Read things that make you uncomfortable. Yep, that's right, that make you uncomfortable. Take yourself out of that bubble, that familiarity, out of the comfort zone. Quiet the noise in your head. Even if it's hard to sit still, trying to watch your own thoughts helps to see the code of the simulation. Be creative. Art, music, dance, it all helps to find patterns that your logical brain usually misses. We might never know the final truth while we're in these bodies. And then in saying that, I'm starting to think about life after death, but we're not going into that in this video. The goal isn't just to sit around wondering whether the world is real. The goal is to act, perform, live, and be. Use your curiosity like a compass. Don't worry or obsess about whether the world is 100% real. Worry about making your mark on it and finding that fruit of knowledge that was promised long ago. And when you do find it, don't be afraid to share it or to use it or even to plant the seed in others. Thanks for watching.